haven't personally heard anything negative. In fact, quite the opposite in regard to you. And like I say, the former mayor referred to you as a national hero. Just to give you a little background, at least in my experience, because I've also engaged in this sort of activity. Yeah. And this is what I've been told, is that you do require a permit. I've always interpreted that as more of a matter of consideration to the village and to the police department. And that works both ways. On the one hand, let me put it this way, if I were organizing a protest or a demonstration or picket, one of the reasons I would want to notify the municipality is, one, just so that they would know that we were there and what we were doing, so they wouldn't show up and be surprised. A matter of consideration, yeah. Secondly, in my experience, oftentimes it's comforting to know that the police are there if you believe that they're protecting you. Okay, now it depends on which police department you may be dealing with. But in my experience, early in the Iraq War, there was an anti-war protest here, anti-Iraq war protest in the village square. And somebody came and tried to set us on fire. They actually poured gasoline all over the park. And I think what happened is after they poured the gasoline, they might have chickened out, retreated, regrouped, and came back and then lit the match.
Somebody or some group?
Well, we never did find out who it was. Rumor had it that it was a volunteer fireman. And years later, just not so long ago, there was a volunteer fireman who was incarcerated for setting fires. He was an arsonist. He would set fires in a barn, and a few houses were burned down by this gentleman. And so, in a sense, it was comforting to know that the police were there just in case. And so, on the other hand, I tend to agree with you that the First Amendment is all that's required. So again, that's why I would prefer if the village would change the name of this from permit to notice of consideration, perhaps, or something like that. Now, Michael Sussman, whose name came up earlier, has also organized demonstrations for protests in the village, and his position has been that no, he's not going to get a permit, and he's exercised that right without consequence. As far as I know, he's not been arrested. And but on the other hand, from what I understand, he did notify the village that, in fact, yes, we're going to be here on such and such a day. And so, but anyway, I spoke with the police chief today, and over the phone, and Chief Watt, and he told me what you were being charged with. And anybody out there who would like to access this this ordinance can do so at the Village of Goshen website, which is ny.gov. And you're being charged under Article 5, assemblies, which I'll read to you now. And the state law reference public assemblies in streets and public places, Penal Law 240.10. Section 42-106, permit required. It shall be unlawful for any person to cause a congregation of people at any public place within the village, or to participate in, conduct, or accompany any organized parade or procession other than a funeral procession on the public streets, sidewalks, or other public property in the village unless an application has been previously filed and a permit granted thereof. This code was adopted in 1966, which surprised me. I thought it would have been a more recent ordinance, perhaps in the 1980s. And it continues, section 42-107.
Well, 66 might even be in more stuff.
Possibly, but I don't suppose the Vietnam...
It's a little early for that, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the resistance movement was just in its infancy at that point. Although I was only born in 1965, so you were certainly... you seem to be a little bit older than I am. So. Okay. Now, the next item on here is section 42-107, same application. An application for the permit required in this article shall be filed with the chief of police in writing and shall contain the following information to be furnished by the person in official charge thereof. 1. The names of all organizations or persons organizing or sponsoring the parade, procession, or gathering.
No
2.
way.
The purpose of the parade, procession, or gathering. 3. The date and hours of the parade, procession, or gathering. 4. If a parade or procession, the proposed route thereof and its beginning and terminating points, and if an assembly or gathering, the location thereof. 5. The number and type of vehicles, if any, including marching units and floats. The number of persons participating.
Oh. Wait. What did you just what you read about a parade? I was one guy.
Okay, well, let's continue here, because I think you may be thrilled with
Okay.
with the way this pans
Because
out.
I didn't have any floats. There was no,
Well, you may want to consider presenting yourself as a funeral next time instead of having it here. Perhaps you just get a casket and present it as the death of the First Amendment.
Good.
So, continuing along, Section 42-108. Save investigation, issuance, or denial. The Chief of Police shall investigate all applications for permits required in this article and may issue permits where the information specified in Section 42-107 has been furnished, provided the proposed parade, procession, or gathering is otherwise lawful and can be held without undue interference with vehicular and pedestrian traffic within the village, of which circumstances the Chief of Police shall exercise his discretion. I would have written his or hers.
Now you could use it there and now it's grammatically.
And I've done this before. I've actually I filled this paperwork out and I've submitted to the Chief of Police, and there is a bit of a delay. If I haven't done this in a while, if my memory serves me right, the Chief of Police receives this, and if it looks okay to him, he'll bring it before the village board.
If it looks okay.
He'll bring it before the village board, and then the village board will either deny or approve your permit based on his recommendation. Now let me finish. I think you're going to be happy. Section 42-109, unlawful assemblies. When any 2 or more persons, you were by yourself?
I was by myself, but
Okay.
only 7.5 pounds overweight, so you can't even argue that.
Well.
You had to buy 2 seats on that plane.
And there were only 1 set of handcuffs.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
When any 2 or more persons are assembled, and any 1 or more of them shall be engaged in violent or tumultuous conduct, or shall threaten violence, injury, or intimidation against another, upon failure to disperse when ordered to do so by a police officer, all such persons so assembled shall be guilty of an offense and shall be punished as provided in Section 1-15 for a violation of this code. Again, this code was adopted in 1966, 10-25, state law reference, unlawful assembly, penal law 240.10. So again, I think the language is explicit. When any 2 or more persons.
Right.
So you were by yourself,
I was by
right?
myself, and look, it's common sense that I would think it is that the police and any municipality has a right to ensure public safety. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to have a massive demonstration or parade, there's going to be 10, 20 people on a narrow sidewalk, it does make sense that you would inform the police for the reasons that you gave before, common courtesy being one of them, also so that arrangements can be made. But the consideration of approving or disapproving such a proposal, in my opinion, have to be based solely on issues of public safety, flow of traffic, noise level, that type of thing, and have nothing to do, and never be based on the content of the political content of what you're saying. I mean, I think that's pretty clear. Now, how does this apply to my particular case? As you said, first of all, there was only 1 of me. Second of all, I wasn't in any way violent or intrusive.
Were you in any way tumultuous, or did you engage in tumultuous conduct?
My hair might have been muffled.